Welcome everyone to my health mode 1 of Blood Tales. So let's start this off correctly. So after defeating the tutorial people, we go wake up to the past and immediately try to kill Tutorial Terry, where we promptly get blown up. Let's just say it's gonna be a common occurrence, dying to random things, because that's how hard everything hits. I probably should introduce you to the rules now, of what I mean by a helmet one in the beginning, because we can't actually start it just yet until we meet Tutorial Terry and go meet the most important person for this challenge, the annoyed looking guy right here. For how this one's going to go is because not only would hard mode be enabled, but also Gusto, Double Pain, Thrill Seeker, not Thick Skull, and TikTok. But each one of these do is something different. Basically, Gusto will make it so our Super God no longer exists. Double Pain increases damage by ×2, and Thrill Seeker decreases our guarding window, with TikTok basically causing our HP to scroll while we are thinking, aka the balance. And last but not least, hard mode, which not only has us take more damage, but decreases our guarding window. Out of all these, Gusto is the most dangerous because Super Guards is what allows you to prevent damage altogether. And without that, we are taking 4 times damage maximum, 2 times minimum, because I'm pretty sure guarding only half damage. So yeah, you're going to see how dangerous that is with our first real fight, Red and Blue. So, as you can see from our very first battle, how pretty much the entire challenge is gonna go. For with half the guarding windows, the timing to guard is really low. But along with that is double damage, which basically takes us out right then and there. So yeah, this is gonna be an item heavy one. And also, as you see, this was my second take of getting back here after getting a bunch of items. For I don't recommend a hardcore challenge of this type of one because even little enemies will absolutely wreck you if you have to fight them. And well, if you have to use items on small enemies, then you don't have any items on for the major bosses, and well, you can see how that would be a kind of cycle. So here we are, in my second real attempt. Well, I finally used the power of onion rings to give us an HP region, actually, specifically. We won't be getting an SP region until later. Well, pretty much my strategy hasn't formed in my mind. We use Burgos to heal, because they can only do a total of, like, 8 damage together. So, with a Burgle and the HP region, we should be able to survive each thing. And another thing I decided to avoid was letting them get their attack up, keep their attack up when one of them goes down, because I don't know how much damage that's going to be, and it could easily be way over the damage 2 of them can cause. So I elected to avoid that and wait for the time to use the Storm Key, because that does 1 damage to everyone on the field, all the enemies on the field. SP doesn't really matter in this battle because we don't even have cards to use SP on, we just have ways of dying. And the only cards we could get here are sword based, like days. So, with the Burgle and this final hit, we should be in the clear. Yep, the boop, and back. Probably should have put this all out. Yeah, this is a I'm watching the recording just to make sure I'm happy what they say though. Yep, and with Stone Tea, the battle ends. And with that battle over, we finally get access to our sword and enter the meadows, where Terry stops us and gives us the power stab. Before then. So with that, we can finally enter our next battle. These two random enemies that for some reason gave me an insane amount of trouble. This is because both of them really counter me in this battle. For the ball guy, the helmet guy is actually his real name, but I call him ball guy because he's kept his ball knocked down and beat him up later. And the sword man, it's really been the problem with sword course because it just takes enough turns for him to be able to attack twice with everything involved. And of course, I thought about things and decided, yep, just gonna use ball twice. And lo and behold, with the decrease guarding window, I die instantly. So yeah, like I said, the normal enemies in this challenge are no joke. They will end you. On to our first real fight, Nubador and these guys. Like the real person here is Nubador, since, well, as you'll see, Red and Blue here will just kind of get knocked out in the first turn with Bomb. And as you can probably guess from the amount of health I have at this current moment, and my lack of healing items, yeah, this first round is done as well. The elbow drop is gonna be a common problem that you'll see for this part of this battle. But anyway, luckily every other battle, from my understanding, should have a healing path from here on out, which means this type of scenario will not repeat again. So that's why I set it off. Now anyway, on to the real first battle against Nubador. Yeah, for some reason, Nubador got cut out and that's why I had to change it. And also, this is the first time I changed out my specs around. Anyway, on to the next battle after I buy a bunch of items. Alright then, with the first part of the battle fully established, we begin it here. And this is also the battle where I learned that the blue bar, despite how useful they sound in increasing the windows of things, are completely useless because when I'll ever get the time to actually use a 1 HP healing item and not explode, well, conversely I could just, you know, hit them with a sword and call it a day. And with that first round, we go down. Alright then, time to go speed up as you see. This is the first battle to really take me a while. Nubador does a lot of damage and the elbow drop causes daze. Something that I learned during this battle will basically be the most important status effect in the game. Because enemies aren't immune to daze, and unlike freeze, which basically everyone's now immune to for one reason or another, and even those who aren't apparently can only be frozen once, so it's not really that good of a tactic. But on the daze, on the other hand, while it has low chance of parking, always will be active and basically can just cause them to skip turns, which is very useful when a single turn can be what means for you if you of living or dying. Because yeah. And basically another thing of note, he was 2 attacks, the elbow drop and super ball. At some point, I basically learned how to counter the super ball attack with the precise guarding window. I never did get the elbow drop attack. I might have been able to do it like once, but that was pretty much about it. Luckily, the bomb from Red and Blue never really came up when it comes to health zones, leaving just what I had to do with Nubador, and that is, as the winning attempt shall show you, what I truly mean by daze is basically the most powerful stat effect in the game. For, as I mentioned earlier, how, well, pretty much pretty much nothing's immune to daze. Well, the same goes with Nubidor. After a second, for I can't really use it right away because I died not to. But it turns out the other thing is I'm extremely lucky in this fight as well, because despite me getting the daze aspect, I never once actually, it didn't proc once. Well, it immediately proc my daze chance, Bluebell's daze chance when he was given it. So yeah, that was very fortunate. Which pretty much led to this fight ending rather quickly. With if one combatant in a fight just cannot attack at all, then that's what I mean by the battle ending quickly. So with a couple more attacks, I believe one more. No, it's actually two. I lied to you. But that being the only attack Nubidor gets off, and also why does Nubidor do a defense down? You can't even have defenses in this part of the game. I mean, I guess you could if you basically saved up to get the defense up, but I mean, as you see, it would be quite expensive since we still don't have our things. But yeah, Nubidor down, we now go directly into Chapter 1 and counter our next opponent, the Supreme Ant, which is the reason why I'm saying this now. As you see me get both the HP up and Line Bounce, is because for some odd reason in the first round, the game I was unable to record the battle. Which means we had to reset the entire save file and go back to it as well. I'm going to be honest, I turned off Gusto for those two encounters, which means my levels are now off from what they probably should have been. Not like it matters, as in both attempts, I defeated her on my first try. No, the only reason why I spoiled it now is simply because of how annoying I am about how I can't record the fight the first round. So yeah. So after shuffling my duck around and showing that Gusto is back on, it's time to finally fight the Supreme Ant. Well, pretty much this battle also showcased the power that is a bomb. Because I'm going to be real here, the porcupines in the dungeon, in this very dungeon in fact, are way more difficult to deal with than the Supreme Ant. Because they usually attack in groups, and I didn't feel like using a bomb. I'm pretty sure something similar probably would be the case with the Supreme Ant, but even then, one round would have dealt with all of our minions, so I can't assume it's gonna be all that difficult. And the second thing is like, as you see, it's like, hello, there's an ant, anyway, ball, and dealt with except for the fact that I missed. Which, you know, why is so annoying? Gets out of SP anymore so I can deal with it. And yeah, like I said, without Super Guard, every attack is final. But as you see with the fire on her, she's downed immediately. That's all that leaves is the ant. And what do you look at that? The battle's already over. Alright then, down to a real opponent, Zabanis tonight. For I believe he is the first one the first one to introduce us to armor. Well, you see, the ball was usually our main way of attacking things because of how easy it was, and the sword, well, still about attacking as we saw today. Definitely can be quite tricky if we need to do a lot of damage with something like, well, the multi. Like the power slash sparkly. And as you see, the Banner Snake does a lot of damage. Then again, I think I was also low on health again because of the random mobs. So what's more, that attack did not count because why would it? I wasn't even at my strongest. But yeah. So you see that the Banner Snake is the first one to really do a high amount of damage with not real way for me to counter it. And like Nubidor, who definitely did as down fast night with both attacks, I at least knew how to guard the Super Ball attack. I did not have the same luxuries with the Van's Knight, who I being had to use the new element of our techniques, minimize, to go shrink them down, and with that, the battle's over. So, yeah. It wasn't that much difficult, but hey, he at least took me out, unlike the Supreme Ant. Anyway, with that, we get the Dynamite. I have no idea who that guy is under the water. I'm pretty sure he's not important. And then enter straight into the castle, where we encounter our next opponent, the sentient statue. I will note that I just don't know after due to the Killbot fight. I just kind of just following us. It's not that important. It's not like it's like a real fight anyway. Either way, now we enter the sentient statue fight. With Parkour. Well, it is rather difficult. He definitely has fast moves that, while guardable, still rather difficult to time perfectly. But as we've seen throughout this, the power of Borgles and Midnights have been quite effective. Of course, another thing to note is that the sentient statue doesn't do that much damage overall. It only rivals attacks from Red and Blue, who, well, were beatable with nothing more than a ball. So, every time that could very well be the case because they were minimized when they were doing those attacks. But nothing a deluxe cheeseburger can't solve, and we can see for ourselves that, yeah, you can guard the strong attack of Costly to pretty much minimize damage, and with 2 more hits, the statue is down on our first attempt. So, yeah, the level of the video did not get increased by it. No, instead it was increased by their very own king, the one, the only, Cruel King. So, yeah, as I stated, this battle is rather difficult. Of course, after saying that, yes, before that, yeah, saying yes to that, he did just accept fate for what it is, because, you know, hell no, one's like, it's not like we even killed that god I was sleeping. He's still alive. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine, you know, that his efforts are all for naught because he overslept during this important day of this kingdom's life. So, yeah. Outside of that, it's time to tell you the first fight against the Cruel King. Well, we saw him pretty strong. We saw him on fire. We even attempted to minimize him. Because, as stated, yeah, this kind of, as you see, I'm just kind of looking at how stats effects work. You can see stats effects, at least the percentage chance for each stat effect to work when you have them on hand. Sadly, the free stuff don't do that. But as you also see, Cruel King has the ability to do all out health and damage. For Cruel King is the first person in the game to instant kill you if you don't upgrade your HP. So there was some other people, but you could get an HP up by then. I'm pretty sure, like Nubel or something. I guess the main thing that makes Cruel King much more noteworthy is the simple fact that 20 damage is a massive jump up from the 12 damage that we saw maximum. 12 damage can be countered by a single HP up, but 20? No. You need 2. Which means we have to use the BP that we got from one of our previous level-ups to get an HP up active to redo this fight. And let's just say our next 2 attempts don't go swimmingly either, because I'm going to be real here, we're just not a high enough level for us to actually beat this battle. So we have strategies down. We have the 2 ice creams of chocolate and strawberry to help increase our SP and HP respectively, while also healing some of the SP and HP themselves. We just can't survive Cruel King's onslaught. especially after a call for help, because, well, a single enemy can just shoot us down again, or if it's a knight, block out the attack entirely and then do 12 damage. So yeah, the current strategy won't work out, which means we must do the age-old RPG thing and grind. Luckily, we only need to grind one level just because that was pretty much all we need. If we were just a little bit stronger, we could take on Cruel King. So after losing to the gods outside because 2 archers and 2 knights was way too much to handle, we pretty much just go around picking fights with the gods in the smithing area, as well as I think a few of the god down, as well as the god downstairs as well. You know, it's really anyone that's willing to fight us actively, because playing simply as 2 knights is way simpler than the other combinations, while still giving us a pretty good amount of EXP. Although I will note, yes, I'm a fool who still kept on all the difficulty styles while doing this. Quite literally, outside of that one fight against, outside of the fights that led up to the second attempt against the Ant Queen, I had all the things turned on. Although I think at one point, for some reason, Gusto got turned off again instantly. I noticed it since I was able to dodge an arrow, I'm pretty sure. It led me to realize, oh, oops, that's not turned back. That was not turned off. Let me go turn it back on again, because I want to fight the entire thing of Hell Mode enabled for some ludicrous reason. I just thought all of it enabled for just really all the bosses, and you know, it's easier to just go fight every regular enemy with it on instead of turning it back on and off again, because that'll get rather tedious. Instead, we have tedious fights against every enemy ever. Truly, I am a master of my class. But yeah, there's not really much we can do here. With the extra money, we can go buy and get new items, as in we can get the double cheeseburgers since those heal more. Like, we only need 3, so we can sell the stockpile of cheeseburgers that we had originally. And yeah, I attempted to go see if I was strong enough to fight the 4 gods outside. The answer is no. Why would I think that? But with the extra BP I got, I equipped the Resurrect, which means that now if we go down, we don't just die instantly, we come back to life and then die instantly. The big difference. But anyway, yeah, enough talking about the grind section. We're now back to Fang Cruelty, where as you see, I finally learned how to guard the freeze attack. How did I learn this? Honestly, it's kind of lucked out, not gonna lie. Yeah, as you see, by the fact that I still got hit by the freeze. Because a lot of things I've stated previously is what I think. I am going in this effectively blind. I mean, as you see from my previous videos, I did play through the entirety of Blocklands, but I have no idea the strategies used for a Hell one. So, I'm basically just picking up as they go. This is the reason why I picked up Days immediately instead of something like Defense Plus, which I don't even know if Defense Plus would even be all that useful with all the damage values, but I believe it will be if I actually got it. But I didn't, so yeah. And of course, the Midnights and Days. The Days strike is actually very strong, also the fact that it often hits the enemy behind, which means I can constantly do damage to Cruel King while taking out his subordinates. Although, I think next level up, I should definitely get an SP up. This is because of how often I run out of SP. 5 SP is not a lot, and it matters a lot more when you're trying to use things like Dynamite or just 2 SP attacks in a row, or a total of 4 SP. So, to, you know, maybe having more SP would be helpful. I mean, that'll be a thing for Leonate since I did not do that for this battle. Instead, I just kind of went with the stats that I was given right now. Like I said, I was confident in my abilities, but I'm not confident enough to do this in the level I previously was. And I think now this was before I made the decision to get the double cheeseburgers instead of the cheeseburgers. The cheeseburgers are good and all, but 5 HP versus 8 is a massive difference. Oh yeah, right. I think this was also the point where I finally make the final conclusion and get Atom Plus, because that will increase the healing even more from these items. Yeah, you can see in my inventory. But with that, well, let's just say it was an easy battle. But yeah, just because we leveled up does not mean this fight is any easier. You might be able to level up your stats, you cannot level up your attack. That is just a sole fact of this game. The only time you need a lot of BP to be able to upgrade attack, and well, the only like 1 BP level up attack booster in the game is in chapter 4, which is the Night and Bottle. There might be 2 of them, you can only really have 1 of them equipped, from my understanding, so unless there's like some strange hyper strategy where you equip both, where you're able to somehow equip both of them and use nothing but dynamite and shovels. I don't think this. I think this is I don't think there was any good strategy for that. Which means you'll probably end up with like anti-ups or aggressors, which, oh boy, getting aggressor in this state is gonna be really difficult. Because, well, hold on, let's not talk about battles I have yet to even have accomplished. I might accomplish it in the main world, I've not accomplished it in this more brutal world. But yeah, a lot of times, again, not even out simply like, oh wait, this is the time when I started using free Ace Ball to not freeze Cruel King. Cruel King is immune to it, but no, to freeze his servants if they are not immune to it. And that gives me a lot more time to just do something while Cruel King does his own things. The defense up is annoying, but you can always just attack through it with swords or a battle place ball. There's lots of times when I got the barely survive thing, which I have no idea how you actually get in game, because it seems to just happen occasionally. Where it's like, oh yes, you barely survive. Where it's like, I think it's maybe for every attack that does exactly the amount of HP, but you kind of not really the dot blocked it. I don't really know how the system works. All I know is that it does come up sometimes. But yeah, pretty much as I said, the main people want to see show up is the Archer, just because they're easier to freeze than Knights are. Knights have +1 defense, which means a single ball, even correctly, will not freeze them. So we have to think around that. Another thing we know is that this is basically the point where I also started to spam the power of Days Sword, as well as minimize for later in the battle, because getting off Days early on is very strong against Cruel King, because again, all attacks does a maximum of 20 damage and a minimum of 20 damage since I'm not guarding it to save my life, as well as 3, so it's 21 damage actually, so yeah, I gotta keep that in mind. Which pretty much means that if I'm able to just avoid getting hit by one attack, which well, Days can cause, because again, you can't super guard to actually dodge a single attack. You can only guard an attack. So yeah. Another thing is that I don't think guarding itself is gonna be all that useful in this game. Well, this challenge more specifically, because it takes up your entire turn to guard, and if you do an attack beforehand, well, you only get to pass the turn next time around, which means you're not guarding, which means you probably explode. And if you're going to pass a turn not attacking, you may as well use an item. Well, an item heavy economy in this one, and it's about time we get used we're going to have to get used to it. That to have the ability to actually get cooked items, then we'll be on a wall. But sadly, we do not have that option. So instead, we just have to go buy stronger food items. So yeah. So with all that said and done, it'll be nearing time to show you the full completed attempt of the Cruel King fight. I'll see you when it's finally over. And also, yes, I'm pretty sure I finally understand that Helmet was gonna be a lot of luck, isn't it?
Yummy! Yummy!
And with that, we slay Cruel King and finally get the Ace Dagger. So, yeah, as you see, I think in a few of these battles already, I'm pretty sure I won via the power of, hey, if the enemy's down while you're at 0 HP, technically there's no one to say you didn't win. It does mean that luckily for us it is player favorable. But yeah, with that, we end off this chapter and next time, whenever I feel like doing chapter 2, we'll continue the one then and get the Venom Sink. See you if it happens.